Yeah, that's a very good question. I think that this administration may actually do that for their own political expediency reasons. I think it would be a big mistake, and I think actually long-term politically, I think it would be a big mistake because the other states would resent it. That why should people in Texas have to pay for our incompetency in California leadership? So I actually think that I don't think we will be bailed out. I'm somewhat optimistic, and that's sort of morbid. Everybody said that. But, and I think in the end, if we exercise fiscal restraint, we reform pensions, and have solid pension reform and things, we can actually, it may take a decade or two, but we can come out of this, strong again. But okay, maybe I'm dreaming. Okay, next question.
I have been looking for you, I think. I work for local government.
Yeah.
I do not belong to union. I'm the only one in my department that does not belong to union.
Good.
I didn't have a choice, but I would have belonged. Okay, and I'm just wondering, I'm going to probably be speaking to you privately because I'm being harassed for my political position and punished constantly, and I've been all the way up to the county executive. I'm wondering, because I've been doing a lot of reading, if there are special exemptions for free speech if you're a government worker.
Thank you. That's a real good question. And the answer is yes, there are. You have two facets. One is the Constitution of the United States, and that where the First Amendment specifically does apply to the government workers. It doesn't apply to private workers, per se, but government workers, yes, there is some protection there. But even more significant is the fact that the California Labor Code specifically states that employees cannot be disciplined or harassed because of their religious or political viewpoints or activities they perform outside of the workplace. So there's clear statutory protection. I'd like you to contact my office on that. And I make no promises that, yes, we're going to do it, we're going to represent you, because we only like to take on cases that we think we can win because I'm a sore loser. It's just how I am. But if we can possibly win in a viable case, we'll jump on it. So thank you very much. And stay in there. I really appreciate you. That's what's wonderful. Yes?
Brad, if I reference the UC Irvine antisemitism case, do you know what I'm speaking of? Two sentences. Several students who were Jewish felt that some of the Palestinian speakers that you brought to campus were expressing themselves in such a way that they feel threatened because they were Jewish. They brought suit under the Civil Rights Act, and they were told by the Bush Justice Department that the Civil Rights Act protects race and national origin. So if they'd been Israelis, they could sue, but as Jews, their religious rights were not protected by the Civil Rights Act. Therefore, the Justice Department, the Bush Justice Department, chose not to act. Is there any logic in that? Are you familiar with this line of reasoning?
Okay, yeah, I'm not. And the reason is because we use the Civil Rights Act for religious harassment and those kinds of issues. So I'm not up with that case. I remember hearing there was some harassment. I was angered by it. We have definitely a double standard on American universities, that if you're Jewish, it is clearly a double standard, and it's very aggravating. The lack of protection is given them versus Muslim students. I think there is a definite double standard. I don't want to get too much into that because I don't want to get back and forth on that. But and mind you, also we had a synagogue. Reminds me of a synagogue case we took on. This was in the, I think, Martinez area, if I'm not mistaken. They were building a synagogue. They were told that they would have extensive use restrictions only on one day of the week, Saturday. And they contacted us, and we sent a very long, detailed demand letter to the Planning Commission, and those restrictions were removed, and the synagogue went ahead, which was great. But it is really, it's not isolated to UC Irvine. And it's very disturbing. The opposition to it is very bold, and I think we need to be outspoken and to contest that. Yeah, so thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate that. Yeah, I have very strong